Imagine a world fractured by rebellion, torn apart by rival claimants to the throne, and teetering on the edge of collapse. A single man stepping forward, sword in hand, to claim destiny and rebuild the largest empire the ancient world had ever seen. That man was Darius I of Persia, better known as Darius the Great. His rise was no quiet inheritance, but a daring gamble, a story of ambition, strategy, and resilience that reshaped history. When Darius seized power in 522 BCE, the Persian Empire was in turmoil. His predecessor, Cambyses II, son of Cyrus the Great, had died suddenly while returning from Egypt, leaving no clear heir. In the chaos that followed, a man claiming to be Berdia, Cambyses' brother, declared himself king. But this Berdia was widely believed to be an impostor Gomata, a Magian priest who exploited the moment to usurp the throne. Too many Persians, the empire seemed destined for disintegration. Into this crisis stepped Darius, a relatively young nobleman from the Achaemenid dynasty. He was not the son of a king, but a distant relative, the son of Astaspes satrap of Bactria. Though his bloodline traced back to Achaemenes, founder of the dynasty, his claim was weaker than others. Yet Darius had something few others possessed: audacity, military skill, and the determination to write his own destiny. With 6 fellow conspirators, Darius plotted to overthrow the false king. The story, immortalized by Herodotus and carved into the monumental Behistun Inscription, tells of their daring attack on the palace. They stormed Gomata's quarters and cut him down, ending his brief reign. With the usurper dead, Darius seized the throne in 522 BCE, presenting himself as the rightful heir chosen by Ahura Mazda, the great god of Persia. Claiming the throne was only the beginning. The empire he inherited stretched from the Indus Valley in the east to the Mediterranean in the west, but its cohesion was fragile. Almost immediately, revolts broke out across the provinces. Babylonia, Elam, Media, Egypt, and many other satrapies rose in rebellion. Some claiming independence, others declaring rival kings. For nearly 2 years, Darius fought desperately to hold the empire together. It was a brutal test of endurance. Darius marched his armies across deserts, mountains, and rivers, crushing one rebellion after another. At Babylon, he fought multiple campaigns to bring the proud city under his control. In Media, he faced pretenders claiming descent from Cyrus. Even far-off provinces like Satagedia and Arachosia rose against him. Yet through relentless campaigning, brilliant use of loyal generals, and ruthless punishment of rebels, Darius slowly restored order. By 520 BCE, he stood unchallenged, the master of a stabilized empire. To commemorate his triumph, Darius ordered the creation of the Behistun Inscription, a massive rock relief carved into a cliff in western Iran. In cuneiform script, it told the story of his rise, the false king Gomata, and the many rebellions he crushed. The inscription served not only as propaganda, but as a declaration of legitimacy. Darius was the chosen of the gods, the true king of kings. Once stability returned, Darius turned his attention to administration. More than a conqueror, he was an organizer, a visionary who understood that an empire of such size could not survive on brute force alone. He divided Persia into about 20 satrapies, or provinces, each governed by a satrap, responsible for taxation, security, and justice. These satraps were powerful, but carefully monitored. Royal inspectors, known as the king's eyes and ears, traveled the empire to report on corruption and disloyalty. Darius reformed the economy by standardizing coinage, introducing the gold daric and silver siglos, which facilitated trade across his vast territories. He improved infrastructure by building roads, including the famous Royal Road, which stretched over 1,500 miles from Susa to Sardis. Along this route, relay stations with fresh horses allowed messages to travel astonishingly fast for the time. An early version of express mail that kept the empire connected, his projects extended to monumental architecture. In the Persian heartland, he began construction of Persepolis, the ceremonial capital, adorned with grand staircases, colossal columns, and reliefs depicting delegations from across the empire bringing tribute. At Susa, he expanded palaces that glittered with glazed bricks and imported timbers. Darius was not only a ruler of men, but a builder of worlds, crafting cities that embodied imperial power and cultural diversity. Religion, too, played a central role in his rule. Darius presented himself as a devout follower of Zoroastrianism, emphasizing truth, justice, and loyalty to Ahura Mazda. In inscriptions, he repeatedly declared that he ruled by the will of Ahura Mazda, framing his conquests and reforms as divine mandates. Yet he also maintained tolerance for the empire's many religions, from Babylonian gods to Egyptian deities, ensuring stability by respecting local traditions. One of the most famous examples of his pragmatism came in his dealings with the Jews. After Cyrus the Great had allowed the Jews to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple, Darius reaffirmed and supported this policy. He authorized the continuation of the Second Temple's construction, securing his place in Jewish history as a benefactor mentioned in the Bible. With his empire secure and prosperous, Darius turned outward to expand Persia's influence. He led campaigns eastward into the Indus Valley, consolidating control over lands rich in resources. He pushed west into Thrace and Macedonia, bringing parts of southeastern Europe under Persian sway. His ambitions knew few limits, and soon his gaze fell on Greece. The Greeks had long been a thorn in Persia's side. The Ionian Revolt, beginning in 499 BCE, saw Greek city-states under Persian rule rebel with support from Athens and Eretria. Though the revolt was crushed, it enraged Darius. He vowed to punish the Greek mainland for its interference. In 490 BCE, he launched an expedition against Greece. Persian forces crossed the Aegean, capturing Eretria and burning it to the ground. But when they landed at Marathon, just outside Athens, they faced determined resistance. The Athenians, though heavily outnumbered, charged the Persians and won a stunning victory. The Battle of Marathon became legendary, not only for the Greeks, but for history as a whole. For Darius, the defeat was a bitter setback. He vowed revenge and began preparing another massive expedition. But before he could launch it, revolts in Egypt and other provinces demanded his attention. As he worked to suppress unrest, age caught up with him. In 486 BCE, Darius the Great died at around 64 years old, leaving the throne to his son Xerxes I. Darius's reign was one of both glory and frustration. He had preserved the empire at a time when it could have collapsed, reformed its administration to endure for centuries, and expanded its borders farther than ever before. Yet his dream of conquering Greece remained unfulfilled, a challenge passed on to his successors. Still, Darius was remembered by his people as a great king, one who combined military strength with administrative genius. His tomb at Naqsh-e, carved high into a cliff face, still stands as a testament to his power, depicting the king standing before a fire altar, receiving divine blessing from Ahura Mazda. His inscription declares, "By the favor of Ahura Mazda, I am king. Ahura Mazda granted me the kingdom." More than 2 millennia later, his legacy continues to shape our understanding of empire, governance, and leadership. Facts about Darius the Great. Darius was not the son of a king, but seized power through a coup against a false ruler. His story is immortalized in the Behistun Inscription, sometimes called the Rosetta Stone of cuneiform. He created the daric, a gold coin that became a symbol of Persian wealth. The royal road he built allowed couriers to travel 1,500 miles in just 7 days. Darius expanded the empire to its greatest extent, ruling over about 50 million people, nearly half the world's population at the time. He supported the rebuilding of the Jewish temple in Jerusalem, earning him mention in the Bible. He began construction of Persepolis, one of the most stunning ancient capitals. Darius organized the empire into satrapies, an administrative system so effective it influenced later empires, including Rome. He attempted to conquer Greece, but was defeated at the Battle of Marathon. His tomb at Naqsh-e still inspires awe with its massive rock-cut facade. Darius the Great's life was a saga of ambition, resilience, and vision. He rose from relative obscurity to rule the mightiest empire of his age. He faced rebellion, chaos, and defeat, yet his reforms forged an empire that endured long after his death. He was not content with mere conquest. He sought to build structures, both physical and political, that would outlast him. Though his dreams of Greece were left incomplete, his true legacy lay in the stability he brought, the prosperity he fostered, and the systems of governance he pioneered. Darius teaches us that greatness is not only in winning battles, but in building institutions. Not only in ruling by power, but in creating order that survives generations. His story reminds us that even in the most turbulent times, one person's vision can reshape the destiny of millions. And so, Darius the Great lives on, not just in stone inscriptions or ancient ruins, but in the very idea of what it means to rule wisely and justly.